This build is already meta during the global launch, and after the version 1.2 update, this build is getting buffed by a lot and make it a lot more OP. The new patch increased the projectile bonus from 20% to 30% and added effects like lingering bonds and increased the combo from 3 hits to 5 hits. So there's no reason that you don't want to try this build in this season. And this build you can melee, you can mid-range, and you can long-range. It's an all-in-one build. And the fan can teleport, let you switch in between the range. So this build also has a stun skill. With the stun skill combined with the teleport, it means you can stun your opponent in the melee and also in the long range. And also the fan martial art is super OP. You can retreat with the shield and attack from the range behind the shield with your umbrella also. And hidden tips, you can become a sniper in your guild war. This is very versatile build overall. And a very important note is that the fan and umbrella then buff each other. So you need to keep switching between these two weapons to utilize the buff together. The fan buff umbrella and the umbrella buff the fans. So both have to use it together to maximize the bonus advantage. So let's now look at the skill of this build. Because this build is very complex, the buffing effects is very complicated. There's a lot of buff, which is very confusing. So today I'm going to simplify into 3 main combos to let you easily understand. So the first skill is your main DPS, which is your umbrella light attack, which is your this skill. So this one, you have to use it very often, and you saw it very often used by other players also. But how to maximize the effect from this umbrella's light attack hits from the sky? There's 2 things that you need to do before you're using this charge skill. First is your umbrella Q martial art skill. So this one is also your stun skill from the range. So look at this one, hitting an enemy increase the damage taken from the projectile skill. The projectile skill is referring to your light attack charge skill. So this is the projectile skill. So you need to use your Q skill to hit the opponent first before you use your light attack, this one. Then not only that, the Inkwell fan also buff this charge skill. So if you look at the Inkwell fan, this is the most OP part of this build combinations. So if you use your Inkwell fan Q skill to jump backward, you get a jet break buff. So in this skill, increase your projectile skill damage by 30%. The earlier versions was 20%. So after the 1.2 patch, the developer increased it to 30%. So it lasts for 15 seconds. So it is very important that you have to use your Inkwell fan, this Q skill first. Then switch to your umbrella, use a Q skill. Right. Then only continue with your projectile's flying skills, this umbrella charge skill. So this will give you a lot of buff to your projectile damage. So make sure you get the advantage from this build. So your second DPS is also come with your umbrella, which is your this special skill. So this fire your umbrella to does a passive damage. So this fire your umbrella helps to deal automatic damage like a gun tower. And this also get buff for your Inkwell fan skill. So don't use this one alone. So you need to combine this with your Inkwell fan, this special skill. Because this Inkwell fan special skills, you can make your opponents airborne. That means you can fire your opponents up to the air. So look at this one, it fire up the opponent to the air. So when the opponent is fired up to the air, so these umbrella cannons can hit harder to your opponents. So look at this one, if your opponent is already in the airborne or in the lingering bond effects, so it apply more damage bonus like 100 to 20% of the damage bonus. So let's say if you fire your umbrella to the gun tower like this one, so you always need to switch back to your fan, then use this one to fire the opponent to the air to get the extra bonus hit from your umbrella. So this is very super OP. So this does a lot of damage. So you notice that this cannon umbrella skill requires some blossom, this one. So it consumes the blossom. So to get the blossoms, you need to hit your opponent with your umbrella charge skill first. You see this one, the blossom is increasing. So once you get your blossom, this one, you can switch to your umbrella cannons. So this consumes that your blossoms to deal this automatic cannon damage. Then switch to your these Inkwell fans and fire your opponents to the air, right, to do this additional damage. So your third DPS is come with your Inkwell fan, so which is your this dash skill. So if you use this dash skill, dash to the opponents and fire the opponent up to the air, then you can combine with this persuasive skill, which is your R heavy attack skill. So you can look at these descriptions. If opponent is in the airborne, you can from the sky dash 5 hits to your opponent in the sky like this one. So if it is in arena, it's a players, you only deal 3 hits instead of 5 hits. So look at this one. If I use my umbrellas, so I start with my Inkwell fan. So look at this one. If I use this skill, fight the opponent, there's a button to press F. So you press F, it will do this persuasive attack. Or alternatively, you can fight opponent, press the R buttons. It does the same thing. You can either press F or press R. So fight the opponent to the air, do the persuasive attack from the sky. And you look at this one. If you combine with your umbrella cannon skill, then use this one dash and use this persuasive attack. It does a lot of damage to your opponents, not only from the towers and also from your persuasive fan skill. So these 3 types of attack is commonly used in your PvP and PvE. With this build, you need to use this everywhere. So there's a few skills that worth mentions. The Inkwell fan, you can left click and hold longer. It does this charge attack also to launch a tornado. But this one is less being used. You can use it to hit some mob if you want. And PvP is very less useful. And also your umbrellas, this R charge skill can fly to the air also. But this one is less used. You can use in a build wall for your sniper attacks to fly from building to buildings. So these are some few skills that worth mentions. Then now come to the build set. So the recommended build set for this build is of course your Miss Widow set. Because this set gives you some buff to your persuasive skill, which is when you airborne your opponents, you attack from the sky with your heavy attack skill. And this build also increase your projectiles damage, which is your umbrella's turret and also your flying charge attack skill. So this is basically the only set that compatible with this build. And alternatively, if you don't like this set, you can use the Hot Wing set also. Some players tend to use in between Mid Widow set and also the Hot Wing set, because the Hot Wing set buff your affinities damage. So now come to the most important part of this build, which is your Innerway. So the Mariel chance is of course everywhere you need to use it. So I don't have to mention very much here because this is a compulsory Innerway for every build. So you need to have this Mariel chance. The second is your Blossom Barrage. So this Blossom Barrage allows you to stun 2 times. If you have this one equipped, you can stun up to 2 times. So that means if you have this one, your umbrella will have this charge counter, 2 counter, so you can launch your stun skill 2 times with this Innerway. So this is very important. It's a must-have for this build. Then the second one is your Flying Gout. So this one gives you 2 charge to your Inkwell fan teleport skill, which is your special attack. So if you have this Innerway, you look at your Inkwell fans, that skill, they'll have counter of these 2. They'll have 2 counter here also. So you can teleport 2 times back, and also teleport 1 more times back. So this greatly increases your mobility. And this dash skill is also very important. If you press a dash skill, dash with your opponents, you can do whatever actions, dash forwards, then you press the dash skill again, you back to your original positions. So this is very versatile in the combat. You can dash in, then you can do the jump, whatever you want, then dash again to fly back to your original positions. So this makes you very versatile. If you have 2 charge, you can anytime go back to your original positions like this one. So it's a very good teleport skill overall. Then the third Innerway is your this Star Reaches, because this one boosts your Lingering Bond. So when you fight your opponent to the air, you increase your own physical attack also. So this one is very good. So this is very good for your fan skill. So for the basic skills, some basic skills are like your Dragon Breath, the Dragon Poet, this one don't have to mention. And also your Serene Breeze for your PvP, and Marine Touch is a must-have. Then the next one is your this Soaring Spin. So this one is very useful. So this one often combined with your Umbrella stun skill. So for example, if I have this Soaring Spins equipped to my this ZT, then if I use a stun skill, then continue with the ZT. So now I'm behind the opponents, then I can use the stun again 2 times, then deliver my Dragon Breath, and also the Dragon Poet. So this often is a very good combinations with your Umbrella stun attack, because you can stun your opponent from the backward. Then the other 2 skill has synergy with this build is your Yaksha Rush, because this one will airborne your opponent, fight the opponents to the air, then you can combine with your Inkwell fans. Then also the last one is your Free Move. So this one will also fight your opponent to the air and airborne your opponent. So whatever airborne effects fight your opponents to the air is very good for this build. So these 3 are very good skills for your dispute in the combinations. So now come to the PVE combo. So this is the only one combo that used for this build every way. So this is the only skill rotations for this build in your PVE to get the maximized spark from your fan to your umbrella and the umbrella to the fan. So the combo goes like this way. You start with your Inkwell fans. So you first start with your this dash skill. Dash to the opponents. You can press the R on to the persuasive attack you want. Then you continue using your this fans Q skill to fight backward with this windshield. Then switch to your umbrella. Then use a stun skill. So now you have two buff to your lag attack. Then fight to the A to your lag attacks while you are in this two buff skill. So after you use up all your stamina's, you consider your stamina like this one. So all your staminas being used up. Now you have all your blossom charge here. So you start with your stun again. Then fly your this passive cannons umbrella to consume the blossoms. Then you can switch to your fan. Then use the dash skill charge your opponents. So you are now in a close combat. Then continue with your fire breath and drunken poet. Then switch back to your fans. Then use a Q skill. Then umbrella stun skill. Then the charge skill. Get the blossoms. Then after finish stun. Then fight the turrets. Then charge the opponents. Dragon breath. Then drunken poet. So this is basically the only combo that used for your PvE every way to maximize the buff effects. Then for the PvP skill rotations, the first one is your crowd control combo. Because for umbrella skill, it is very hard to stun your opponent from the far because it is very easily being dodged and the skill is very slow. So oftentimes you need to dash to the opponents in the very close distance. They only use your stun skill. So this will greatly increase your stun rate. So the combo goes this way. You start with your Inkwell fans with the dash skill, dash to the opponents. Then while your opponent is in the airborne, is being a crowd control. Then you quickly use your mouse to switch to your umbrella. Then use your Q stun skill to stun your opponent while your opponent is in the air. Then after stun skill, immediately use your soaring spins to punch through your opponents. And now you are at your opponent's back. And use the umbrella stun skill again to stun for second time. Then if you still have the vitality, continue to use your dragon breath and drunken poet. If you are running out of vitality, you can use your umbrella flying charge attack and to walk away from your opponents. Then your second combo is your high DPS combo. You can start with your umbrella passive cannon attacks, the special skill. Then use your mouse switch to your Inkwell fans. Then use the dash skill to fight your opponent to the air. Then have the umbrella's passive cannons to hit your opponents. So because when you fire your opponent to the air, the umbrella does massive amount of damage. Then this combined with your fan's persuasive skill. So this is a very deadly attack for your this build. It does massive amount of the damage to your opponents. So this is a very good combo. The third one is you always have to apply your pressure with your fan's normal attacks. Because your fan's normal attacks, the range is generally more far than a lot of the weapons, so you can easily use that to hit your opponents. And the projectile speed is also very fast, so you can always hide behind your windshield and use your normal attack to apply pressure to your opponents. And also your fan dash skill and your fan Q skill is a very good escape skill, and your teleport skill. You can use it often to confuse your enemy to where your positions. You can often teleport back to your positions and dash to the opponent to make your opponent confused and don't know where you are. And this combined with your windshield to block your opponent's projectiles and block your opponent's movement. So this is a very versatile movements combo. Then also there's two very good combo that worth mentions, which is your this Meridian Touch. For example, you can use your Meridian Touch, then immediately use your Q skill. You can teleport to your opponents instead of dashing back like the normal Meridian Touch. So this is a normal Meridian Touch. You jump back to your original positions. If you combine with your Q skill, you'll fly towards the opponents and then you teleport closer to the opponents. For example, this one, then Q skill. Then you can attack from behind or stun your opponent behind from the wall. Then the second is your free move. Your free move can often fight your opponents, then combine with your fan's persuasive skill. For example, you can use a free move to fight your opponent to the air, then continue with your fan persuasive strike. For example, like this one, fight to the air, then use the persuasive strike from the air. So these two are some combinations for your PvP. So that's all for the videos. Hope you do well in this build. So see you next time. Bye bye.